Hello, my name is Tania Walker, and I'm the creator of By Design. And I hope all of you had a great holiday season. I know I had a great holiday season, and I'm glad to be back. I just want to thank each and every one of you for liking and subscribing to my social media pages. As of now, my Facebook has over 600 likes and follows, and it's all thanks to you guys. So today we are having a guest, Miss Dorothy, who is a HR expert. And basically, we're just going to ask her some questions. But first, she's going to introduce herself. So, Dorothy, go right ahead and tell us about yourself.
Hi, first, thank you for having me, Tania. I really appreciate you reaching out to me. Hello, everybody. I'm Dorothy. I've been working in HR for a few years. Right now, I'm an HR specialist at one of the nation's leading financial institutions, and I'm just happy to be here. And I'm glad everybody is allowing me to speak with them, and hopefully, what we talk about today will really help someone.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, my experience with jobs, I've had a lot of jobs. And so, what I've noticed in the mental health community, specific the bipolar disorder community, is that a lot of people change jobs very often. And I
Mhm.
noticed when I would change jobs is during my depressive episodes. So, as many of you know, bipolar disorder has manic, hypomanic episodes with depressive episodes. So when I would be in a depressive episode, that's when I would go and just be completely over having a job. And I'm just like, you know what, I need something new. And so the job I'm currently at, I've been at for 2.5 years, and that's the longest I've ever been at a job. Like most of my jobs prior to that job has been like over a year. And so this is like something that I'm, trying to just hang in there with. But when I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder last year, I went through short-term disability, applied for FMLA, and I, was of course in the process of starting this blog and wanted to do more research about how people dealt with different aspects of their lives in regards to bipolar disorder. So what I noticed was a lot of people are afraid to talk about bipolar disorder in their personal lives, let alone their jobs. So I would see posts like, should I tell my supervisor I have bipolar disorder? And I would see like so many comments like, no, they're going to use it against you. They're going to fire you. I'm like, y'all know y'all have rights, right? Like,
Right.
so help me understand this so I can share this video with people who have not just bipolar disorder, but just anything that would be considered somewhat of a disability. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, should someone with bipolar disorder disclose that information to their employer?
Great question. Well, I want to start off by saying thank you for being brave and sharing your story, your testimony with everyone. And I just want everybody out there to know that if you have bipolar disorder or any type of disorder, you shouldn't be ashamed of it at all because we all need help in this thing called life. And to answer your question, I think that an employee should share information with the employer if they need accommodations at any point in time, if it's affecting the way that they perform their jobs, or if they are causing any harm or danger to themselves or those around them. But I want employees to keep in mind that your medical information is confidential and you do not have to share this information. So I don't want you to think that you have to, but if you do decide to share this information, you want to make sure that you really sit down, think about it, because that's a big decision that you will have to make because now you're opening yourself up and putting your information out there. And of course, people are going to judge and have their opinions. So you have to be prepared for what comes with that. But definitely, if you need those accommodations, you want to share that.
Okay, definitely. And even like when I was going through my episode, uh, I had to be out of work for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So for short-term disability, and then also FMLA, like if you like that secures your job if you're running a PTO and you need to like literally like go and just like have a woosah and take some leave. So and it's a catch-22 because you might have a very demanding job that requires you to be there. If you miss X, Y, and Z, then you're so behind on work, and someone might not be able to take your load on. And also, not all jobs have those type of benefits either.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't have that, if they're working for like a small company, they don't offer those benefits, then it's a catch-22. So
Correct.
if someone were to be willing to disclose their condition, should they tell their direct supervisor or just HR?
Okay, now let's keep in mind now, you're not required by law to share this information.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do decide to make your employer privy to limited information, I would say go directly to HR.
Okay.
HR is the department that's going to work with you and directly with your supervisor to facilitate a process that's going to help you to determine what type of modifications or accommodations is needed so you can perform your essential job duties. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't go to a supervisor at first because one, they don't need to know that right up front. And two, they're going to be judgmental or may have some preconceived notions regarding people with bipolar disorder. And once they come out and express that, that could cause like stress and anxiety on somebody who has bipolar disorder and make them very uncomfortable in the workplace. So I would say your first stop would be HR.
Okay, awesome. And just with my experience, there I feel like people don't quite understand the whole issue with the bipolar disorder because most people just don't know. But it's quite common. I think just in the United States alone, 5.7 million people have it. And when I came back from leave, from some of the leadership, it was quite a bit of insensitivity. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, as soon as I got back, I got hit with like anxiety. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, it was just overload. But it wasn't just me. There were people who were coming back from maternity leave that were feeling overwhelmed. So I went to the doctor and I was like, listen, I'm stressed. So she wrote me a note, and after that, everybody was, acting accordingly, like they should act. Like you should, make sure that I get reacclimated. Because when you've been out of work for 3 months, that's a long time. Listen, some people are coming back from Christmas
Right.
break, right, and they're just like, how do I do my job? Okay. All right.
Well,
So, go
oh,
ahead.
I just want to add a little bit. When people are returning from work, no matter what the situation is, people look at them like you had a break or you should be ready to go. And something like disorder, a lot of people just brush it off like, oh, that's bipolar. They just use that term so loosely, but it's an actual disorder, and the importance of it is sometimes minimized.
Mm-hmm.
And people are not as sensitive as you think they should be, but that's why we need to bring awareness to the topic.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So, how does the American with Disabilities Act apply? Because I was doing my research, I had no idea but that bipolar disorder was technically a disability. I mean, I'm not personally disabled because I'm what they call like high functioning, which is another reason why I think people just expect a lot out of me because and frankly we're just in denial at first
Hmm.
because I have a house, I have a car, I have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and they're just like, huh? So, how do you think that applies when it comes to even like hiring people? Like, do you think that people would be discriminated against because of disorder, even though they're not technically supposed to?
Well, you are right. Bipolar disorder is technically a disability. Now, under ADA, you're not required to disclose that information
Mm-hmm.
until you need an accommodation.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's when you're required to disclose, limited information so your employer will know what they need to do to help you do your job. Also, under the ADA, your employer is required to keep your personal and medical information confidential. Now, they would let your supervisor know, but it's on a as need basis.
Mm-hmm.
So, also, unfortunately, I do think people are discriminated against if they put disorder, bipolar disorder, on their application. But that's just the world we live in, because some people are already labeling those individuals, they already judging those individuals, and they already have it in their minds that this person would be difficult to work with, or they have to go out of their way to please or accommodate this person. So
Mm-hmm.
it does happen, but if it does, that's where the EEOC comes in. You can file a complaint within 180 days of the violation, and then they'll go in and do their investigations.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome. So, how does FMLA apply? And for those who do not know what FMLA is, it's a Family and Medical Leave Act. I believe it was established in the 90s, and basically that allows any type of medical leave of yourself or any immediate family for you to leave your job and take care of them. So, how does that apply when it comes to employment?
Because bipolar disorder is technically a disability, the FMLA laws would apply. And basically, what that does is that protects your job up to 12 weeks. Now, while you're out on leave, that paid is on leave. Now, some employers do have PTO you can use in order to have income. Some of them have short-term disability you can use during that time period, but your employer is not required to pay you while you're on that leave. And that applies to employees that have been working for 12 months with the company, who have worked at least 1,250 hours prior to that leave being started. And also, that applies for employers who have 50 or more employees within a 75-mile radius.
Okay. All right. All right. So that is something that I first heard of when I worked at a company called Penske when I was back in Denver. And I had no idea. That was my first big girl job. I'm gonna be honest with you. Shout out to everybody at Penske. I'm friends with some of them on Facebook, and they actually support some of my content and stuff. Um, and that was like the first time I actually had my own health insurance and
Mhm.
had PTO. I didn't even take PTO off. I wasn't used to like taking off. They're like, don't you need to like take off? Like you have a lot of PTO. I'm like, I do, like but it was a little bit of a demanding job. But that's the first time I heard about FMLA, but I hadn't used it until last year. So, how can employers make a safe environment for people with mental health issues?
Well, let's start off by talking about mental health.
Hmm.
Mental health is so important because it affects the way you think, the way you behave at work, the way you process situations. So, one of the things that employers can do is they can create a safe environment, a comfortable environment. They can do things such as offer exercise. Some companies might offer breaks where certain employees can get together. They can socialize, let their hair down, take a break.
Hmm.
They might even offer stress relieving workshops in order to help people kind of wind down from the demand of their job. Also, one of the most important things that employers can do is address mental health issues. And
Hmm.
this can come in the form of offering counseling. I know a lot of employers offer employee assistance counseling or services. Also, your employer can allow you to take time off to go to your appointments. A lot of people use outside mental health counselors. So if your employer has the time, like you that need to use your PTO, you can use your PTO, or your employer might allot you some time to go to those counseling services. Also, you want your employer to train the managers and also the employees on how to identify stressors in the workplace and how to identify like mental health issues so that maybe people can feel more comfortable talking about the situation. And once you start opening up to others, a lot of people, more people than you think, have the same issues. And once people get on one accord, they can start relating to each other. It makes the topic easier to talk about. And then if everybody is brainstorming together, maybe they can go to their HR department and say, hey, we noticed that this is an issue in our company. What can we do to help out our employees?
Awesome. That is such a listen. I just need to take exactly what you said and just hand it to the HR lady at my job. Because listen,
Right.
my job is stressful. It's definitely a stressful time because I work at a university and we're enrolling students as we speak,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's kind of just like everybody just needs everything. And I work in financial aid,
Oh, yeah.
so anything with a dollar sign I have to deal with, and people are very, antsy and have a lot of anxiety about their money. So, but I, bear down and buckle down and try to use my teammates as a coping mechanism. Just go in there and just talk. Um, and usually I am away from my desk a little bit more than I should be. But most of the time I'm working. I need somebody to sign something, and then I get to talking about my day and talk about their day, because I've been there for over 2 years. So
Mhm.
they're, we've known each other, hung out outside of work, you know, went out to eat and, met people's kids and stuff. So a lot of them came to my birthday dinner last year, so we're almost like a family. People having babies now. I'm getting like little pictures and Christmas pictures, and
Right.
so it's like almost like a little family. So Dorothy, I really appreciate you. I cannot wait to put this video out because I know it's gonna help so many people.
Thank you.
And if you want to come back and if I have any other questions, I know where to go to. And I
Yes.
really hope that people will take this information and really utilize it to their advantage.
Well, I thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure talking to you and meeting you for the first time.
Right?
So that was great. I'm really glad I got to connect with you, and I would hope that you would give me an invite to come back. But I would just want to say to all your followers, and even to you, make sure you take out time for yourself. You can't be all work and no play.
Mm-hmm.
And employers are doing a better job nowadays of making sure that employees have that work-life balance so they can retain employees. But make sure you know your options. Make sure you know what type of options are available for you from your employer so you can utilize and maximize on those resources.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.